Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for coming. Thank you
So
for
we'll
the
get there at 6:15.
podcast. And I want to introduce you to an example of what are the consequences of casting out a Jew, mistreating a Jew, treating him without compassion, even if it can be justified within the parameters of halacha. There are grave consequences. At the end of Parshas Emor, which is in Chumash Vayikra, we'll read the story of the Makalel, the person who blasphemed God's name. And I'll read you the text in Hebrew. Maybe I'll just translate it. Vayetze ben Isha Yisraelis, and the son of a Jewish woman, who ben Ish Mitzri, but he was also the son of an Egyptian father. B'toch b'nei Israel, he went out in the midst of the camp of Israel. Vayinotzu b'machna, and he strove. He got into a fight in the camp. Ben ha-Yisraelis ve'ish ha-Yisraeli, this son of the Jewish woman and another Jewish man got into a fight. Vayikov ben ha-Isha ha-Yisraelis es Hashem, and the son of the Jewish woman cursed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God. Vayikalel, he cursed him. Vayoviu also El Moshe, and they brought him to Moshe. V'shem imo, and the name of his mother was Shlomis bas Divri Lamate Don. She was Shlomis, the son of Divri, from the tribe of Dan. Remember the tribe; it's become very important in this story. What?
Could we say Dan?
Dan. Vayinichu b'mishmor, and they put him into prison. L'farish lahem al pi Hashem, and they wanted to find out what would be his fate. What would God say? What justice should be meted out to this man who blasphemed God publicly? Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe, and God spoke to Moshe, and he said, "Hotzeas hamakala amekutz lamachna, take the blasphemer out from the edge of the camp. V'samchu kol hashomim es yideim al rosho, and let all of those who heard put their hands on his head. V'gamu also kol ha'ida, and then stone him to death." Very mysterious story. It says they were fighting in the camp. Doesn't say what they were fighting about. It says Vayetze, and he went out. Where did he go from? So the Midrash fills us in on what's taking place here. This is Sifri on Parshas Emor. Vayetze ben Isha Yisraelis. That's the text of the pasuk. And the son of the Jewish woman, went out. Minayin Yotza. So the Midrash asks, where did he go out from? Where was he? Answer, Mi Beis Shel Moshe. From the court of Moshe Rabbeinu. Shabbat, what happened? Ba'alita all over Toch Machane Don. He wanted to set up his tent in the tribe of Dan, his mother's tribe. Remember, she was from Dan, Shlomis bat Divri Lamate Dan. He had no Jewish father, so his father did not have a place in the camp. But he grew up with his mother, and when he became an adult, he wanted to establish his own tent, his own place. And so he pitched his tent in the tribe of Dan. Amrolo, the tribesmen of Dan, said to him, Ma tivacha lito b'toch machadan. What is the reason you are putting up your tent in our tribe, in the tribe of Dan? Omar lahem, he said to them, Mi benos Dan anochi, I'm from the daughters of Dan. My mother is from this tribe. Amru lo hakosov. So they said, wait a minute, you don't have any right to set up your tent in our camp. Ish al diglo, a male by his flag, meaning in the camp of his tribe. Bosos the base of Osam. That's what you have. This is a camp of the male offspring of the father of our tribe, Dan. Move your tent out of our camp. Nichlas lebeis dino shel Moshe. Well, now he said, listen, I have no place to put my tent. I cannot put my tent where my father's tribe is because my father was not a member of a tribe. He was an Egyptian. I'm a full-fledged Jew because my mother was Jewish. He was a full-fledged Jew. And because his mother was Jewish. So Nichnas Lebeis Dino Shemoshe says,
He was not born Jewish.
He was born Jewish.
No, excuse me. Before Matan Torah,
It doesn't make any difference.
it's
The Ramban on the Chumash over there on that pasuk goes to a little bit of length to prove he was a Jew.
how?
Because he leidoso b'kedusha. He was born to a Jewish mother. He's Jewish.
He was born before Matan Torah.
It makes no difference. For Matan Torah, you could also be born from a Jewish father, but if you were born from a Jewish mother, you were also considered a Jew. Nichlas Beis Dino Shel Moshe, he entered. He said, "I want to have a din Torah. I want to have a court case. You can't just throw me out. I got no place to go." The Yotza Mechuyev, Moshe Rabbeinu said, "The tribe is right. You have to move. You have to move your tent out of the tribe of Dan." Omad v'gidev, he went out and he cursed God. Okay. This troubled me. This story troubled me for I don't know how many years. How could it be that they couldn't find some kind of solution for this Jewish young man? You know, tell him go live with the Levium, tell him to go, whatever you want to tell him. Find some solution. It's impossible there should be no solution. By the way, Chazal tell us that he was the only one in that situation. Although there are some Rishonim who say there were others. But basically, he was pretty much alone in that situation. And there was to me, it was a big problem. How is it possible that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't find a solution for this man? Because after all, now he's sort of what we would call homeless. He has nowhere to go, basically. What was the tribe of Dan so upset about putting his tent there? They said, if he's going to put his tent with us here in the desert, when we come to Israel, he's going to want a portion of our tribe's lands. And he will diminish the holdings of our tribe by one parcel of land that he will have to get. Therefore, we don't want him in our camp in the desert, because when we come to Israel, he'll also want a part of our land, and it will diminish our holdings in the Holy Land, and therefore we want him out. And Moshe Rabbeinu agreed with them. And again, as I said before, this story troubled me, yeah?
You said Moshe Rabbeinu agreed with them?
With them. And told him he has to move his tent out of the tribe of Dan.
So you're troubled that he wasn't included.
I was troubled that Moshe Rabbeinu found no solution for him. This problem exploded when you get to Chumash Bamidbar. Because there in Chumash Bamidbar, the Torah tells a story of how Yisro, Jethro, Moshe Rabbeinu's father-in-law, tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Ki im el artzi ve'el moladati ashuv. I want to go back home. I want to leave the camp of Israel. Listen what it says. Vayomer Moshe lechovev ben Ru'uel hamidyoni chosei Moshe. And Moshe Rabbeinu said to his father-in-law, Nosim anachnu el hamokom. We are now going to travel to the place, to the promised land. Asher amar Hashem oso eten lechem, which God said He will give to us. L'cha itanu, come with us. Ve'itavnu lach, and we'll be good to you. Ki Hashem diber tov al Yisrael, for God has spoken well for Israel. We're going to have a glorious future. Join us and come with us to the promised land. Vayomer Elav, and Yisro responds to his son-in-law Moshe. Lo elech, I'm not going to go. Ki im el artzi, but to my homeland. Ve'el moladati, to my birthplace. Elech, I will go. Vayomer, Moshe says, no. Please do not abandon us. Al na tasavutanu. Ki al kein yodata chanusena b'midbar. For you know our configuration of our camp in the desert. And you will be for us a scout, a spy. You will be able to tell us where is it good for us to camp in our travels towards the land of Israel. And it will be that if you come with us, V'hoya hatova hu asher yetiv Hashem imanu. It will be that good that God will share and bless us. Ve'tavnu lachu will be good to you. The Ramban on the Chumash, explaining this du-siach, this back and forth conversation between Moshe and Yisro, says as follows. Moshe pleaded with Yisro to go with them, with the people of Israel. And he said to him, just in general terms, will be good to you. Yisro thought, what does this mean when Moshe says he will be good to you? Oh, we'll share the spoils. After all, we're going to conquer all these Canaanite people and Canaanite nations. We will have gold and silver and clothing and sheep, cattle, and whatever will be, we'll share that with you. But as to giving you a portion in the land, Yisro thought that Moshe was not going to give him a portion of the land. Al kain lahoya chafetz. Therefore, he did not want to go.
Because of that.
We'll see.
Of that.
Va'ata ki im el artzi ve'amoladiti. I'm going to go to my homeland where I have land. Ki shom li NACHLAOT. There I have an inheritance. I have a place to settle. I have a land. I can build my house. Hozam alo Moshe. So Moshe responded to that. Al no tazovotan. Please do not leave us. Ki midaitacha. Because you know the desert, you'll be for us a scout. You'll help us navigate the rough terrains, etc. We call atov ahu asher yetiv Hashem lanu, and from all of the good that God will bless us with, we will give you. We will be good to you too.
What is the meaning he knows the desert?
I know. We just trying to convince him to stay. Remez, says the Ramban. What was this remez? What is this double portion of good that God will be bless us with? What is this reference to? Moshe Rabbeinu said, we will find a place for you in the good land. We will find some land, and you're going to have that land. And that's what it says in the Talmud Yerushalmi. B'nai Keni, the sons of Keni, who was Chosei Moshe, the father-in-law of Moshe, Dirsiv, when they bring Bikurim, they say the recitation that says, the good land that you have given to us, we're therefore bringing its bounty to the Beis Hamikdash. So the children, descendants of Yisro, were able to recite that pasuk because they had a portion in the land. What was their portion in the land? Doshna shebi Yericho, Doshen, which was a suburb of Yericho, was given to the children of Yisro as an inheritance in the land.
How do we know this?
This is from the Midrash. And this is how the Ramban explains this du-siach between Moshe and Yisro. Now, so, we see that ultimately Moshe found a solution for Yisro, who was his father-in-law. When Yisro said, I'm not going to have a portion of the land, I can't stay here. I don't feel part of this people. I don't feel that I have a shared heritage or a shared legacy with the children of Israel because I'm not going to get a portion of the land. Moshe Rabbeinu says, don't worry, we'll find you a portion that will give you a part of the land. And Moshe Rabbeinu found this solution for Yisro. Yisro was a convert. As we said before, the Ramban points out and stresses that the Ben Isha Yisraelis was a full-fledged Jew. So for a convert, he found a solution. For a Jew, he couldn't find a solution. And this drove me bananas. This question is bothered. I got bothered by this question. Guess what? This is in intriguing questions no one asks. You can't find anybody who asks this question. When I ask this question, you should see all the they fall over themselves trying to bend over backwards to find some kind of answer. There is no answer. It's not a good answer anyway. Okay.
You give an answer?
Discussion. Let's find an answer to this question. Well, I'm going to tell you up front, there is no answer to this question. there is only consequences. And like I said to you before, we will discover the consequences of this decision later on in Sefer Shoftim. This did not come to me until years later when this question was percolating in my mind. And ultimately, when I learned the book of Judges, all of a sudden, the
Answer.
not an answer, but the consequences became very apparent. So just remember the story. We have a Jewish man born to a Jewish woman, but not a Jewish man. Wandering, doesn't know where to put his tent. He puts his tent where his mother's people were, and they did not want him. Okay. Listen to this story, Perek Yud Ches in Sefer Shoftim. Vayomim Mohin. In those days, Ein Melech b'Yisrael, there was no king. Meaning each tribe sort of, did for itself, managed on its own. Ubayomim Hohem, and in those days, Shevet Hadoni, the tribe of Dan, Mavakesh lo NACHLAOT lo sheves, was seeking its portion in the land of Israel. Ki lo nafla lo ad hayom hahu bitoch shiftei Yisrael b'nachla. Because the tribe of Dan, unlike all the other tribes, could not find its place in the land of Israel.
But there was not a pool.
There was a pool. There was a goral, which gave to the tribe of Dan its nachla. Where was the tribe of Dan's nachla? Where was Shimshon HaGibor from? Me'eshtoel, he was from right near the Gaza Strip, right near Asa. And he fought with the Pelishtim all his days, Shimshon, and ultimately the Pelishtim killed Shimshon HaGibor.
Was from that?
From Dan.
From Dan.
From the tribe of Dan. Okay, so let's see. So now this is telling us that in the days of the judges, the tribe of Dan could not find its place in the land of Israel. Why? Because it was given a strip of land or a portion of land near the Pelishtim. And the Pelishtim would raid them and steal their crops and who knows what else. So they were not at peace. All the other tribes of Israel were inhabiting the lands that were allocated to them by Joshua, except for the tribe of Dan. And so the tribe of Dan sent from their family Chamisha Nashim. They sent 5 scouts, men of valor, strong men, Mitirza, Mishtoel, down from by Gaza, and they sent them to scout across the land of Israel and find for them empty land that nobody's occupying. Vayavo Har Ephraim, and they come to the mountain of Ephraim up north, Ad Beis Micha, and they come to the house of a man named Micha. Now, who is Micha? Micah in English. Micha was a person who stole from his mother silver and then had a guilty conscience and returns it to his mother. And his mother says, you know what? I'm going to take this silver. I'm going to give it to a silversmith. I'm going to ask him to make a little icon. And the silversmith makes a little icon, which in Jewish history is going to be, and she gives it to her son, and it's going to be termed Pesel Micha, the image, the Pesel, the idol, so to speak, of Micha. Micha then took this idol, put it in his house, and he set up a little tent for this idol, and he made one of his sons as the priest to this tent, to this idol. Okay, let's see if it has just Ephraim.
It's not a good name, this Micha, because
Yeah, no, it's an idol.
the one was put in the pyramids.
Yeah, Micha was put in the pyramid. 1 second.
You think that?
Interesting. Is there a Tanakh here somewhere?
Yeah.
No, a Tanakh. I need Shoftim. Let me see if there's one. I don't know why it's not in the book. All right, I'll just have to do it by heart. There was a man from Rechavia, and it says, "Vahu Levi," he was a Levite, mi mishpachas Yehuda, from the family of Judah. Well, that's an oxymoron. You can't be a Levi and come from Judah. Says the Gemara. His father was a Levite, so he was a true blood Levi, but his mother was from Parashat, and he went to live with his mother's family. He didn't feel comfortable with the Levium for some reason, and he went to live in Beis Lechem Yehuda with his mother's family. After a short period of time, he didn't feel comfortable in Beis Lechem Yehuda, and he wanted to go La'asher Yimtza. In other words, he left La'asher Yimtza, where he would find. He didn't go to a destination, he just left. The conditions of living with his mother's family were intolerable to him, and he just had to get out of town. He left, and he went La'asher Yimtza, wherever he would find. No destination. He wandered. Guess where he wandered to? He wandered to the house of Micha in Rechavia. Now, in Rechavia, Micha had made this, we'll call it bed and breakfast, and whoever would pass by, he would invite them. He was very hospitable, like Avrum Avinu, and he would invite people into his house. This wandering Levite comes up to Rechavia, stumbles in a sense upon the house of Micha because he had no destination. And Micha says, come stay with me. I'll give you food. I'll support you. I'll help you. He goes into the house of Micha, and lo and behold, he sees this idol there. And Micha says to him, until now, I did not have anyone from the tribe of Levi to be a priest to my idol. I want to hire you to be a priest to my idol. And sure enough, this young Levi says, okay, I'll become the priest to your idol in your home. And he served and he made him big day kahuna. He made him the clothes of a Kohen, just like we read in the Parsha this last week. He made him all those beautiful clothes. He adorned them with those beautiful clothes, and he appointed him to be the priest to this image of Micha, the Pesel Micha, which was in Micha's home. Now, back to the story with the tribe of Dan. They had 5 scouts that were scouring the land of Israel to find open land where they could relocate their tribe, because their tribe was totally at the mercy of the Pelishtim, who kept marauding them and taking their produce and killing them and enslaving them and doing all kinds of terrible things.
How could that be open land if it was already been distributed?
That's right. So we'll see. So they went all the way up to the house of Levi, up to Micha. And Micha tells them, there's land up north. They go up to a city called Laish. Laish was a Canaanite city that eluded capture or didn't get captured by Yoshua ben Nun, and it remained a Canaanite city living in peace. And the people of Laish saw that the Jewish armies went home, meaning they all went back to their Ishtachas Gafna, Ishtachas Teinasa. After 7 years of war and 7 more years of fighting amongst themselves how to divide the land, they all went to live in peace. They all had enough of war. And so they did not destroy Laish or capture it. They left it intact. A Canaanite village intact. The 5 scouts come up and they spot Laish. They see Laish. It's an area where nobody's at war. Nobody's fighting. It's all peaceful. The Canaanites are unsuspecting. They have been living there for generations already in peace. And so they continue to live there. And these 5 scouts said, this is a perfect location.
Switzerland.
We'll go to this place, to Laish. with our army, and we'll conquer it, we'll destroy it, and we'll rebuild a center for our people. They return home, all the way back down to Gaza. They gather an army of 600 men, 600 men, I think, and they travel north, and they pass through the house of Micha on their way north. And they ask this little priest, will we be successful? We plan to attack Laish, the Canaanite village. Will we be successful? And he tells them, you will be successful and God should bless you. They go and they capture Laish. They burn it to the ground. They transpose their tribe up there. They transfer the tribe up there. They rebuild the destroyed city of Laish, and guess what they name it? They name it Dan. They name it after their great-great-great-grandfather, the founder of their tribe, Dan. And that's why we say from Dan up north to Beersheba in the south, that's the Dan. They put their tribe up there, burnt the Canaanite city, rebuilt it, named it Dan. On their way up, they go back to the house of Micha, and they say to this priest of the house of Micha, we're going to take this idol, and we're going to take it up to Dan. We're going to steal it from Micha. We're going to take it up to Dan. He says to me, you can't steal. You can't steal. He says, get out of the way. If you know what's good for you, don't get in the way. We have an army here. We're taking the pesel. We're going up north. And by the way, since we're taking this idol, you should come and become our priest up in the north in Dan. They said to me, you want to be a priest to one little family here, or you want to be a priest to a whole tribe? And so this priest, this Ben Levi, this man from the tribe of Levi agrees, and he goes up with the tribe of Dan. He settles in the town of Dan, or the city of Dan, which they rebuilt, and he is the priest to the tribe of Dan. Now, the pasuk in Shoftim says that Pesel Micha, this house of Micha, which now has been transported up to Dan, stood for Ad Yom Galos Haaretz, until the 10 tribes were taken into captivity. This little house, this temple to Dan, stood. Fact is, Yerovam ben Avat, the first king of Israel, took the golden calf that he made and put it in Dan, in the same place where Pesel Micha was, and that same sort of temple up there. And the pasuk tells us that this place endured until the end, till the destruction of the 10 tribes. So the Gemara says, what was the merit of this place that it should be connected to the Mishkan and Shiloh? Because the Mishkan and Shiloh also stood until that period of time in history, roughly.
In the tribe of?
In the tribe of Binyamin in Shiloh. So the Gemara says that the smoke from the korbanot in Shiloh, spiraling up to Shemayim, joined the smoke of the Pesel Micha, of the idols, of the korbanot, the sacrifices that were offered to this idol, and they intertwined and they went up to heaven together. Gemara says, why? What was the zechus? What's the merit of this Pesel Micha that the smoke should join the smoke of the Mishkan in Shiloh? Says the Gemara, because Micha was hospitable.
What?
Hospitable. Machnis orchim. He was in the mode of Avrum Avinu. He took in everybody. And because he had that mitzvah of achnosis orchim, his temple sort of endured, or the idol that he built or fashioned endured all the way until the 10 tribes were taken into Golus, and sort of coincided or coexisted in not together, but in proximity to the Mishkan in Shiloh. Very unbelievable story. The Mishkan in Shiloh, which was sanctified to Hashem, holy to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where the Kohanim served, and the temple that housed the idol or the image of Micha endured, so to speak, side by side. Not side by side, but contemporaneously. Because of the hospitality that Micha offered in that zechus, it endured for a similar lifespan as the Mishkan in Shiloh. Isn't this a mysterious story? Now let's go over the story a little bit and let's see what happened.
So is this a return to idol worship?
Well, yeah, in Don, yeah, the kingdom of Israel reverted to idol worship, but that's subsequently. But it began already in the days of Micha. Okay, so we have here a story: a young man living with his mother's family, not comfortable. They were not hospitable to him. He felt alienated. He felt he had to leave. He leaves, he's going and wandering to wherever it would take him. He had no destination, which is an indication that he didn't leave because he wanted to, or he had a better job somewhere. He left because he found the living conditions with his mother's family intolerable. They weren't hospitable to him. He goes up north and he becomes ultimately a priest to the tribe of Micha. Now, in Shoftim, it identifies for us who was this young man.
Not married.
It doesn't tell us if he's married or not. Vayakumu lahem b'nei Dan, and the children of Dan, after they stole this image, they established this image, Pesel, the image, the idol. And who was this young Levite priest that they appointed? It says, Yonasan ben Gershon ben Menashe. It was Yonasan, the son of Gershon, the son of Menashe. Now, in the text, Menashe. Where is it? Ramorcha. אני עכשיו באמצע שיעור, אני יכול להתקשר אליך בשוב? Okay, בסדר. Who was this Yonasan ben Gershon ben Menashe? How do you spell Menashe? Mem, Nun, Shin, Hey. How do you spell Moshe? Mem, Shin, Hey.
Nun is missing.
The Nun is missing. The Nun is extra. The Nun in the text is suspended above the line. So if you would read it straight and not look above the line, you would read Yonasan ben Gershon ben Moshe. So the Gemara says, what is this Nun doing suspended above the line? Why isn't it written straight like every other letter? Says the Gemara that it was really Moshe Rabbeinu's grandson. And Moshe Rabbeinu's grandson became a high priest to a Pesel Micha for hundreds of years, meaning his descendants and descendants, until the destruction of the kingdom of Israel.
That's what he was at there, right?
That's why it was elevated above the line, because it didn't want to hide the fact, but it didn't want to just brazenly state that it was Moshe Rabbeinu's grandson. So now we have two things here. We have the tribe of Dan, which does not find its place. It could not find its place that was allocated to it, where Shimshon fought the Pelishtim by Aza, Ben Tirza, Ben Eshtael. They had to relocate all the way up north. They lose their chelik in Eretz Yisrael, given to them by Yoshua ben Nun al pi agorol from Hashem.
He paid the price for that.
They paid the price for not accommodating one Jewish man who wanted to pitch his tent among them.
But the culprit was Moshe.
Moshe Rabbeinu, what does he have to do with Shevet Dan? His grandson, actually his great-grandson, becomes the priest to this Pesel Micha for hundreds of years, their descendants for hundreds of years, until the kingdom of Israel was destroyed. The connection between Moshe and the tribe of Dan was the trial that was held when this young man demanded to be able to put his tent with his mother's family. Listen, Moshe Rabbeinu's great-great-grandson found no peace with his mother's family. This young Jewish man found no peace with his mother's family. The tribe of Dan made him feel very uncomfortable, wanted his tent removed, and the young grandson of Moshe Rabbeinu felt most uncomfortable living in Bethlehem with his mother's family, and he too left two stories of people who felt unwelcome in their mother's families, and the consequences that ties the tribe of Dan to Moshe Rabbeinu is the story of the Ben Isha and Yisraelis who in his frustration and anger against the judgment that was meted out to him, went and he cursed God.
Moshe Rabbeinu didn't pay any price for the wrong judgment,
He did, his grandchildren.
but not himself.
Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu did not pay. But Moshe Rabbeinu was sofer al sof kol hadoros. He saw what was going to happen. He knew. It was a punishment that I think it's the consequence of what he did. Consequence of what it bound him.
But on what basis could he say you have no right on the done piece of land?
Because they were not from tribe of Dan. They weren't Mibati Avot till Dan. He wasn't from the family of the fathers of Dan. So you see the consequences here of what happens when you mistreat a Jew, when you make him feel alienated.
Excuse me.
Even if it's in Moshe Rabbeinu's case, it was in accordance with the halacha. The halacha was he didn't have a right, but he should have found a solution.
If you are a convert, to what tribe do you belong?
Oh, you don't belong to any tribe.
So why should Yitro get the piece of land?
That's the question. Moshe Rabbeinu found a place for him. He found a compromise.
But Jericho is
He
Israel.
found an empty spot. He found something that he was able to give to Yisrael. Nobody wanted it. Nobody claimed it. Nobody was there. Could have done the same thing for the Ben Ish Yisraelis, but he didn't. And the consequences are what we learned today. And what do you see from this? You cannot mistreat a Jew. You know, sometimes we see a Jew, maybe even a black Jew, who's a ger. And we don't really want to befriend them. We don't want to have anything to do with them. You know, it's not comfortable for me to have a friendship with them, to have a relationship with her or whatever.
Okay.
It's a sense of something that we need to do here in Israel. And thank God, Baruch Hashem, here in Israel, we see Ashkenazi women with black Jews. We see Jews who are black because they come from different parts of North Africa.
Okay.
We see, and we are seeing what used to be called the United States, a melting pot. We're seeing a melting pot here in Israel. Mikol Kitzvei Ha'olam, from all the ends of the world, the Jewish people are gathering together into our holy land, into our house. And here in our house, we're breaking down these insidious barriers of discrimination, and we're learning, slowly but surely, to meld into Am Echad. And that's what will deliver us to the Yemos HaMashiach. When we are Am Echad, B'Lev Echad, one nation, one heart, one nation dedicated to keeping and protecting this land and observing the mitzvahs of this land and keeping the Torah of this land and studying the Torah of this land and learning to love each other and at least learning to live with each other in a modicum of civilized life. That will bring about Mashiach. And if we want to know why Mashiach has yet to come, because we haven't finished this process. We have not joined together. That's it, folks.
Why is it in Menashe with the no? Why not simply Menashe?
Because the Gemara says the Chachamim or the
Respect.
they did not want to disgrace Moshe, mamish, blatantly like that, so they hid it. Those who will study the text and those who will be curious as to know why the nun is suspended, they will find the truth. But, you know, the biblical translators in the English language, what is it, St. Matthew or whatever heck it is, that translate the Bible into English, they're oblivious to this. They don't realize, first of all, they don't put the N of Menashe suspended above the line. They wrote Manasseh, how they spell it in English. They're oblivious to this. Most people who read the Bible, or even the Tanakh, are oblivious to this. Until I pointed it out to you, I guess I would assume perhaps many of you were oblivious to it. It was hidden from the shitchi, from the superficial reading of Tanakh. It was hidden. But those who study and want to know and explore why is the nun above the line, they will find the truth and they will realize that this was a consequence all the way back to what happened in the desert.
Where is the proper territory of the tribe of Dan?
Don Bar Shabbat Sheva. It's up there in the north. You do it Mekomon Ba'aretz. And who took their place? Hamas Yimach Shemam B'Zichron. They are down there by Yeshtael and Tirza and Aza, and all of those lands are occupied by Hamas.
Temporary.
I hope it's temporary. I believe it's temporary. I know really it's temporary. The question is, to what extent is that duration going to endure? To what extent are we going to have to suffer losses and fight to
The
get back?
problem is we're too, what do you call it, conventional.
Yeah, no, we're too leftist. Yeah.
Also,